The Halloween banner is out now, but so is the Tempest Trials, and I wanted to talk about that first because we got a very interesting surprise. If you've been following the Ice and Flame plotline, Fjorm and Legjern were set to become the champions of Nifla and Muspel. They seem to be set to duke it out, but for this Tempest Trials, Fjorm actually got a new form, and she is the Tempest Trials boss. Champion, ? Fjorm is an axe army unit. She's a rather interesting army unit with a focus on speed. The data mined enemy stats for this Fjorm showcase rather high attack and speed with okay defense and res. She does appear to have 190 BST, and if we're following the previous Tempest Trials with Nifla and Muspel, then Champion Fjorm could be on this month's new Heroes banner. In any case, she'll probably be summable at some point, and if Fjorm's getting a new champion form, then it would make sense that Legjern may get one too. If you're a fan of either of those characters, then you may want to save your orbs, but nothing is confirmed. Now, this Fjorm does have Ice Mirror, funnily not Ice Mirror 2, perhaps that's just for the Tempest though, and obviously she will have a more decked out base kit when she releases. She has a new weapon called Nifl's Bite. Naturally it is a distant counter weapon, but it also accelerates special cooldown, which is really nice for an Ice Mirror. Additionally, if Fjorm is near an ally, she heals 7 HP after combat, and against ranged foes, she gets no C disrupt. Pretty interesting because army units can't get that skill, but it is only against ranged weapons, so it seems like even this Fjorm may focus on ranged combat. You do get that feeling that she's probably going to come with far save in the future. Fun stuff, and we'll see what kind of unique skill Fjorm may get, or maybe she'll just have standard armor passive skills. We are getting a part 5 to the Tempest plotline, so I'm gonna guess Legjern is gonna receive a new form next time. Looking forward to it, and with Loki and Thor showing up a little bit, maybe all of this will lead to something bigger eventually. Now back to the Tempest Trials. As usual, you can earn up to 42 orbs, 11,000 feathers, and 80 sacred coins. You can get 50 Ephemeral 10 divine codes and 1 animal blessing for mythic odor. For sacred seals, we got odd defense wave and shield session. Last, our reward unit is Halloween Sophia. You can earn a 4-star and 5-star copy. We'll talk about her more later on. For these sacred seals, let's start with odd defense wave. At start of odd number turns, grant +6 defense to unit and adjacent allies for 1 turn. Bonus granted even if unit is alone. Now, we've had wave sacred seals for a long time, but this is actually the first odd variant. They have all been even wave seals so far. Not a lot of surprises here. Odd and even wave skills are okay self-buffs and can buff allies as well. They only work every other turn, which can obviously be an issue, but they are cheap filler skills you can slap on any unit. Silence does have even defense wave for the C slot if you want to run both odd and even wave, but it's not like that's in some kind of insane combo or anything. Upgrade this if you want, but this is definitely not a must-have. Now, our second sacred seal is a bit more interesting. Shield Session 3 states, if foe initiates combat, grant bonus to a unit's defense and res during combat equal to 9 minus number of foes who have already acted times 3, minimum value of +3 defense and res. So, the Blade Session Sacred Seal made some huge waves as the highest attack and speed boost you can get via the seal slot. It's not too hard to take advantage of it, and it can also give you a solid +6 attack and speed, which can match things like attack and speed solo. Shield Session also grants a fat +9 defense and res at full power, but it has a few more nuances to consider. First off, it is the opposite of Blade Session in that it is a pure enemy phase skill. If no enemies have acted, then you get the maxed boost, but as more enemies take a turn, you lose power until you're going to hit +2 defense and res. Important to understand is that if the first enemy is defeated while they're attacking, Shield Session can stay at max power. Defeated enemies will not count as having taken an action. Overall, you can think of Shield Session as a stance skill that always at least gives +3 defense and res. It can give +6 or +9, but it depends on how many enemies have acted. Normally this is not a huge concern, you just bait the AI to attack first. However, Rally and Dancers directly mess this skill up. If an enemy rallies the attacker, then they have taken a turn, so you're going to lose 3 defense and res. If another unit rallies or a Dancer dances, then you lose another 3 defense and res, and well, now you just get left with +3 instead of +9. It's not the worst skill, especially as a sacred seal. However, if you want to take this into PvP modes where these tactics are pretty common, then your mileage may vary. I think it's a fine sacred seal instead of an A skill, and it can go on any unit. Maybe you can toss it on a unit in a defense team, and unlike bonds or solo seals, you don't have to worry about positioning. Shield Session also gives +3 defense and res on the enemy phase, so it's like a marginally weaker Bracing Stance 2 at its very worst. At full power though, it's more than double the defense and res that Bracing Stance offers. I think it's a decent seal to upgrade if you have excess sacred coins.
The festival atmosphere is certainly infectious. What fun. Oh, candy? For me? How kind of you.
When we've continued the all-dragon Halloween banner from last year, our Tempest Trials unit is a bit different. Halloween Sophia will not be a dragon unit, instead she is a flying blue mage. She will actually be our very first heroic Grail flying blue mage. For stats, Sophia will have 37 HP, 30 attack, 23 speed, 27 defense, and 42 resistance. She's gonna have an HP super boon, but really the focus is on her insane 42 base res stat that will tie Ronin for highest base res stat in the whole game, and obviously that means she has the highest base res stat out of all mages. Very impressive stuff, and Sophia has a solid 38 base attack to go with it. 27 defense here is not insane, but that's much higher than most high-res mages, and that's going to come at the cost of her speed stat. 23 speed is not great, and slow flying mages are actually not super common. Halloween Sophia will be pretty unique for many reasons, but she does have some issues because of this uniqueness, and we'll talk about that a bit later. Now, something that is very positive in Sophia's favor is her inheritable weapon. She has the Spider Plush Plus, which is just adorable, and it actually is just a spider that she holds. Already a fun seasonal weapon if you want to pass it on. Now, it may look cute, but we have another top tier inheritable blue tome here. Red mages wish they got some of these Tempest tomes, because if foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is greater than 75% at the start of combat, grant +5 attack, inflict -5 attack on the foe, and inflict special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack, aka the guard effect. This is another defensive oriented tome, but it's a nice option to have. It is always active on the enemy phase, but you can proc it on the player phase as well. It then gives the user more damage and in the all important attack debuffs, which benefit physical and magical tanking. On top of this, you get guard built in, which is really good. Sophia definitely makes the most of this weapon because slow tanky units get doubled often, and special procs can punch through their defensive stats. More attack debuffs benefit her a bunch, and extra damage doesn't hurt either. Earlier this year, blue mages got the pack blooms from Valentine's or Veronica, and now Spider Plush is another great defensive weapon that is free to play friendly. Back to her base kit, Sophia has some solid skills as well. She has Ardent Sacrifice as her assist skill, which is whatever. She then has Attack and Res Form 3 in the A slot. That grants up to +7 attack and res if you have 3 allies within 2 spaces. Previously only available on Halloween Zane from last year, but now it's on a Heroic Grail unit. Solid budget A skill option. For her B skill, Sophia then has Sabotage Res 3. If the user has more res than the foe and the foe is next to another enemy, then inflict -7 res on that foe. We got Sabotage Res from Solon this year, so I was hoping for another variant, but we'll take this for sure. Sabotage skills offer an interesting debuffing option, and obviously it's great on one of the highest res units in the game. Overall, actually a pretty competent base kit. Sophia can debuff foes to deal more damage, and she stacks more attack and res while applying attack debuffs with guard. Not super fancy, but a lot of res tanking power. Now for the neutral nature, Sophia will get +1 HP attack and resistance when merging. That's not bad, and she only does have a HP super boon. Honestly not terrible for tanking more of either damage type, but not exactly high on the trait fruit priority list. If you're looking for a merge project for a high res unit, then Halloween Sophia can offer just that. So here's just a look at some of the other flying blue mages in the game. Again, Halloween Sophia is the first heroic option for this class type. We got Peony for free, but she is a dancer. In general, there really isn't any super slow flying blue mages. Female Morgan is the slowest, but even she hits 30 speed. Sophia has superior res stats with a respectable defense, all things considered. Her 38 base attack is also not bad, although her HP could be higher. Now, Sophia is going to be the first Gen 6 flying blue mage. Gen 5 included Katarina and Juno, although I think their 3 BST difference is because Katarina rode high while Juno rode low on those stat totals. Kind of a weird situation there. Bread of Juno was this year's 4-star focus blue mage from the Bridal banner, and she has a pretty nice offensive stats if you wanted to invest in her. Same goes for Summer Loot from last year as in the 4-star focus unit. Halloween Sophia is definitely in a league of her own as a slower flying mage with much tankier stats. Flying mages are already pretty rare, so she may be the only one with this stat spread for a pretty long time. In terms of builds, well, slower tanky units without free follow-ups typically depend on quicker post for killing power. You could run it in the B slot or Sacred Seal slot. It's not very fancy, but quicker post fits the Spider Plush just fine. Sophia will be quite tanky, especially on the res side, and both of her passives are okay to keep. Attack and Res form is fine for a defensive playstyle, and Sabotage Res can benefit allies as well. With 42 base resistance, Sophia should be able to tag a lot of enemies already, but you could go for a res find the Spider Plush for a little extra insurance. If you want more debuffs to stack with the Spider Plush, ploy skills are available and they work off res comparisons as well. If you want a buffing C skill, then you could get Odd Res Wave from Mercedes or Attack and Res Oath from Peleus. To go quicker post in the seal slot, you could run Dove range 3 to neutralize ranged foes field buffs. Buff neutralization plus guard plus quicker post is not bad at all. Now you can boost Sophia's defense stat with skills like sturdy stance or attack and defense form. But if you're mainly fighting ranged foes, then you'll be facing a lot of archers. That will be a problem for a flying unit, especially a slow one. No matter how much defense you stack with Outward Shield, Sophia just takes free extra damage, and that doesn't feel good. Getting doubled often does not help with this endeavor, and in general the slow flying mage tank archetype suffers from similar issues as slow tanky calves. There just aren't many, if any, amazing skills for them, and especially for flying mages, being weak to arrows innately sucks. Like, if I wanted a tanky mage besides flyer mobility, I could just use an infantry mage like Sonya and not get penalized for fighting archers. Halloween Sophia is unique, but she faces some problems because of their stats and class type. I personally don't like sacrificing a slot for out shield, but if you do not run it, then stacking defense is pretty awkward because of bows. You could try something like close foil to at least use the extra defense against melee units, however, it just sucks having that disadvantage to archers. If you aren't looking to tank everything, then you could focus on res tanking and fare a bit better. Luckily, Sophia can get some nice skills for flyers, including attack and res catch 4, attack and res 4 trace, and attack and res rain. That would be a pretty neat combo, and you can still run quicker posts even. Additionally, you could use something like Mystic Boost to avoid adaptive damage from dragons and get some healing. Otherwise, Sophia can just keep Sabotage Res for debuffing. She could also be a close ward user if you wanted, but that is a very specialized enemy phase build. Now, while Spider Plush is great, you can also run Pack Blooms Plus instead. The Pack Blooms offer some healing, which may keep Sophia in quicker post range, and you could get guard back via a tier 3 dual stance A skill. If you just want to focus on resistance, I will also throw in a mention for the Blue Rabbit Tome as well, but only for one fight per phase. If you want a very basic damage dealer, you could also try a Blade Tome build. Just gotta watch out for lulls and panic. Another way to use Sophia is with the Love Bouquet Plus from Bridal Juna herself. This is a support weapon, buffing attack and res in combat, and you can pair it with Joint Drive skills, Closer Distant Guard, or the Sabotage Employ debuffs. Add in a Rally Assist for more support. While Halloween Sophia can be built for general tanking with extra defense stacking, I do think it may just be less of a hassle to focus purely on resistance. Getting guard via her weapon is already extremely valuable, and it allows her to run mixed phase skills like Catch, Far Trace, and Rain, or maybe even Mirror Impact to get some player phase hits in. There are some fun ways to go about res stacking, but it can be very expensive. Luckily, you can also just make Sophia's base kit work pretty decently well just by adding quicker posts and some buffs somewhere. Overall, this is a fun little Tempest Trials, including the new Fjorm ult. The Sacred Seals this time aren't super high priority for upgrading. I think Shield Succession can find a place on various builds if you're looking for enemy phase survivability though. Maybe if it can help deter the first attackers from making an early move. As for Halloween Sophia, she's the first heroic Grail flying blue mage available. She has one of the highest base res stats in the game, but sacrifices a lot of speed to do so. Unfortunately, slow flying tanks don't get a lot of options for interesting skills, and stacking defense can be weird because of the inherent weakness to bows. There just isn't a ton of benefits over running an infantry mage like Sonya if you're looking to stack defense and res. Now, the one super bright spot from Sophia is the Spider Plush Tome. This definitely rivals the Pack Blooms as another top tier defensive inheritable blue tome. If you want guard, use the Spider Plush. If you want some bonus healing, grab the Pack Blooms. All in all, if anything, Halloween Sophia can be a super cheap res stacking unit to have around. She's neat, but certainly not game changing. That will be everything I have to talk about for this video. Go get those rewards, and I look forward to seeing if we get a new Leg Yarn ult to match up with Armored Fjorm, and would be pretty pleased with if the Ice and Flame plotline actually ends up progressing the overall fight plot in some way. We'll see next month. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.